Hello, vlog watchers, and welcome to yet another webisode of my story, where I'm telling my life story in 30-minute webisodes now. We started out with 15 because YouTube said it was just 15 minutes, although I was going to make like a 2-hour video, and now the story has turned into way longer than 2 hours. Of course, when you have to like stop and pause every 15 minutes and reevaluate, and yeah, it's been crazy. It's a fictional story of my life. Welcome to my story. I'm so grateful that y'all are here today. So we have been we're pretty much almost caught up. It's just y'all, there's a lot of transformations that I went through these last 4 or 5 years, and that's where we're at, is just 4 or 5 years to the now. So yeah. Wow. So, yeah. Whenever, one thing that I want to kind of go back and, touch up on before I move on. Whenever I first moved to the house, because I talk about child support, and I really do wish that I could have, whenever I have child support, I really do make sure that my kids have everything that they could want or need, and where they can fit in with the other kids. That's just all that I want for them, really. I mean, I want the best for them, really. But whenever we first moved into the house, I was getting steady child support, and he was even paying off some of his arrears and everything. And I knew that it wouldn't last, but that's the part that made me nervous. I don't know why I said but. Anyway, I knew that it wouldn't last, and that scared the bejesus out of me. And I was moving into this self-help stuff, and I was really starting to heal myself and learning stuff. And I would buy the books, and I would read the books, I would do the worksheets, I would do all the stuff. I would buy the courses from the online teachers, I would buy their courses, and I would do the stuff. And it was like going through a healing journey for me. And honestly, I didn't know what was going to become of the healing journey. I just knew that I was willing to walk it, and I no longer wanted to be what I was. That's all that I knew from that point. And the fact that I knew that Zach's child support would not continue, it really motivated me. And I'm glad that, I'm so thankful that he was so inconsistent with it, for so long, and that he was the way that he was with it, because it puts a little fire under my booty, and it's a fire that I needed under my booty. So I bought myself some financial self-help books, and I started reading about finances and getting into finances, and I was just putting back his money. I was scared to spend the child support money, and I started a savings account just for that. And I don't know, it was like I was scared too, because I was so scared that he was going to quit. He would quit paying any day, so I need to have the money for whenever I need it. And then, we had the no contact order court, and I was absolutely certain that criminal court was going to come after that. And so whenever he told me, I'm never going to pay you another dime of child support, I was like, yeah, no crap, like I don't expect that. I don't know why you would think that I expect that. So yeah, it did stop at that point, but I'm so grateful that I put everything into savings, because that was a year before my daughter's senior year, and I was able to get the money out of savings to be able to support her in her senior year. And even now, because I put everything back, as my kids go through things and they need stuff, and there's little fines here and there's, little fees that they need to pay. I don't want them to get overwhelmed with it like I did. I didn't have anyone to help me with that stuff, and they just looked at me like, get over it, get through it. That's one thing that we don't understand about, people that I think are rich live in the suburbs. They're rich because they live in the suburbs. I don't, but people think that I'm rich because I live in America, and I live in a trailer in America. I'm trailer trash in America, which is rich for some people, So there's perspective, and we shouldn't compare ourselves to others. So I was really getting into self-help, and I found the Vicky Howie, and she does this chakra tapping thing, and we went through every single chakra, and that's whenever I first realized how broken my sacral is. Was really broken, and I looked into different ways to heal the sacral, and once I'd gone through the journey with Vicky Howie through every single chakras and tapping it out is shadow work. It was a lot of shadow work, so it's embracing my shadow. It's not for people that want to be good people. It's for people that understand I'm not a good person. Like I said, I had a villain story, but I'm not a good person, and I began to stop wanting to be a good person and start to embrace the good evil person that I am, the evil good person that I am, to embrace all of me. I was learning to embrace all of me, and then I got sick. I got sick with the flu, and I got a rash all up the side of my body that felt like fire. And I don't have any kind of health insurance or anything. So it cost me money to go to the doctor, and all of that, they told me you got the flu and you got shingles. And I could get some steroid creams, but they cost even more money. And I don't know why I have such a bad, like, I can't spend money on myself. I can spend it on my kids, if they need health stuff, then yes, let's get them their health stuff. So my teeth are bad. You guys, these are fake teeth. Because, yeah, I don't want to spend money on myself, and taking care of myself for some reason, it feels selfish and wrong. It just always has, and this is something I have to work through. But whenever I had the shingles, I'm not a type of person to even want medicines anyway. So just for me, I just want to know what it is. What is this? What's going on here? They let me know it's shingles. So, all right. So we're going to ride this out. We're going to go home. We're going to take care of it ourselves. We're going to do everything we can. Guys, it was hell. It was hell. I found myself taking ice baths. I don't even like cold water. I don't really like cold water baths. I found myself taking ice baths, just laying down in the ice, just laying on my side in the ice, and it still just felt on fire, and I just felt so cold and uncomfortable. And I remember it was like, this is the first time that I feel like I heard God speak to me, because before now, I'm not talking about Jesus, I'm not talking about Yeshua, the ascended master, I'm talking about God, the Most High. Because before then, and the way that I would speak to God and communicate with God was He would communicate to my knower, right? And I would just have a knowing. And this is the first time I think I heard God's actual voice. And the thing about that is, I always thought thunder is what God sounds like. Now I don't think that way, and it's because God's voice, it's just like they say in the Bible. Like, I'm going to say it my way first, though, and then I'll tell you the Bible way. God's voice is silence. So crazy, but in silence you hear God. You can hear God speak in the silence. And the Bible calls it that still small voice, still voice, still small voice. Why do I want to say still small voice? I'm going to have to look this up. I had to look it up, and literally it goes to the Elijah story. And yes, it's that still small voice. And after the fire, a still small voice. You guys, I'm going to cry now, because literally what that still small voice told me in that bathtub that day was Elijah. And I've read the Bible so many times. I'm so familiar with the biblical stories, and it reminded me of the time where God told him to lay on his side, and God told him to lay on his side. And this was the first time that I had my a true vision. And because it was the first time, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't understand. And I didn't know that, like, if I was supposed to warn anybody. I don't think anybody's going to listen to me. First of all, I don't want to be a prophet. Don't want to be a prophet. I've already been proven false, so I'm not God's prophet for sure. And I don't think nobody's going to be listening to me. And people think I'm crazy anyway. And this was the time that I had just finished reading, following this guy who was proven false. And a lot of my family were looking at me like, you're very gullible. You're very gullible. You're very deceivable, and you have very gullible, deceivable thoughts, kind of thing. So the idea that anybody would listen to me would be insane, but I was given a vision and I was shown. This was in 2019. I was shown 2020. I was shown COVID. I was shown all of it. I was shown COVID all the way to the shots. I was shown all of it. I was shown some people wouldn't survive it. And I don't know, because like I said, this is the first time I was ever given like such a vision like this, that I've really, and I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know I was being shown the future. I didn't understand that at all. I didn't understand. All I knew was, I'm having these visions of the sickness, and it's around with these little jags all over it, and I want, I want to say COVID, but I don't know. And yeah, and, so I didn't know how to warn anybody back then. I didn't know what to do. But the visions, they began whenever I'd gone through the full chakra cleansing and healing of each chakra, and then I had fire all over my body for real. And I was like in this deep, dark sickness. And I remember while I was sick, there was this point where I was on my bed and I was just in fetal position, and I was just in so much pain and so much darkness, and it felt like I got plunged, like plunged into the darkness. And I could tell that this darkness it was my darkness, but beyond. And it was like the darkness of my collective that was like swallowing me and my darkness up, to where it was like the darkness of everyone was consuming me, and I was just in it. And I could just, I don't know, it felt like I was in the darkness of the collective of the earth, and I was, the best word to use is consumed by, but it's like I'm swimming in this, but I'm not swimming. I'm in fetal position, and I'm feeling the pain of my body, the pain of my life, and just the physical pain and the emotional pain and the pain of like everyone just all in one, this deep darkness and pain that exists within Mother Earth. And I was there. And it's like, it's hard to explain. It's like there's this part of me, this light being part of me was like, you can be consumed by this, or you can rise out of it. But the choice is yours. And this is not the same that biblical Christianity would teach. Like, it would be like, you need to reach for Jesus. Jesus is the only one that can bring you out of hell. But I feel like I was in hell. I was in the actual hell. the spiritual hell, which is an actual place. I was there. And I don't know. It wasn't like it was just you. It was like me. It was like my higher self let me know that I could choose. That it was a choice to rise out of. And I did. I chose to reach for the light. I chose to forgive the darkness. I chose to accept the darkness, to embrace it, I guess, to accept it. And it's so weird because this accepting of the darkness is what helped me to rise out of it. And it was like, rising out of it was like my higher self was here letting me know that I had a choice, and I'm like, being consumed doesn't feel like I have any kind of choice. And I like reached to merge into my higher self. That's how getting out of it was. I don't know. It's really hard to explain. And this felt like an amazing spiritual awakening. Like now I'm like really close to God, and I feel like I've come out of hell. I know that it's there. I know that it's real. I know what it is. And I can overcome it. And I feel like that's what Yeshua wants us to do, is to be able to learn to overcome hell ourselves. I really don't think that he ever intended to be to take over our ability to be our own savior. If that makes sense. But as y'all can see, my views and things are changing dramatically, and it's coming up on the second Passover season. And so this time, just because I'd gone through like this huge awakening, and my mind had been blown. I'm just, it's crazy. And this time for Passover, I decided to kind of do it more like the Jews do. Let's see what a Seder is about. Let's do a Seder. And, I think that the number one most important thing is to do it with love, even if you're doing the pagan Christian holidays or you're doing the non-pagan, non-Christian holidays. Do them with love. I think that really is the most important part. One of the reasons why I moved away from the pagan Christian holidays is because the God of the Old Testament says he doesn't want to be worshipped that way. And in witchcraft, they kind of have this thing where you pick a deity and you work with that deity. But the thing about picking a deity and working with that deity is you should kind of, your personality should kind of resonate with that deity's personality, and you should worship and work with that deity the way that they would want to be worshipped and worked with. Like there's no sense of going to a joyful deity and being like, why are you so happy all the time? I want a deity that's sad, or going to a melancholy deity and being like, why are you so upset? Why are you so blah all the time? I want someone that's uplifting, go, if you want an uplifting deity, go to the uplifting deity and then worship the uplifting deity in the uplifting deity's way that the uplifting deity wants to be worshipped. If you want a melancholy deity, go to the melancholy deity and then worship the melancholy deity the way that it wants to be worshipped. So because of this concept in witchcraft, it made me look at the God of the Old Testament a little bit different than other people do. I look at it as a deity with this certain personality traits, and I'm like, well, how do you want to be worshipped? One of the ways that he wants to be worshipped is unlike any of the other deities. So if there's any other deity that you worship that way, he doesn't want it. So that's one of the things that is definitely clear, and he wants his name. His name is so powerful. He wants his name, and he wants to be worshipped above all the other deities. So, but he doesn't, one of the things for sure, he does not want to be worshipped like other deities. Well, we worship still to this day, people worship Odin with the Christmas tree. Whether you want to take it back for the God that doesn't want it, you're taking it back for a God who says, I never want to be worshipped the way another deity worshipped ever, 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 ever. Which means he doesn't want you to take back anything for him ever, ever. Okay? That's the God that y'all are worshiping, and y'all are worshiping in a way that other people worship other gods. Okay? You can take it back for him. Go ahead, take it back for him all day long. He doesn't want to be worshipped in a way where you're taking something back for him. So that's just the way that I see all that. And I didn't mean to get into preaching, but oh my gosh. So yeah, I had this in-depth spiritual awakening, and I plunged into the darkness. And you know, people say, I heard about this a little bit later, but the dark night of the soul. And I was like, oh, I know whenever I went into the dark night of the soul, that was whenever I had my shingles. And I don't know, I think I began to wear it as like a pride thing. I have a very, 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 very spiritual ego. Very spiritual ego. And yeah, so I did kind of, my ego took that and was like, I've been through a dark night of the soul. I have been plunged into the darkness, and I came out of the darkness. Aren't I so special? Ain't I so special? But yeah, so, and at this time, my husband he was really getting his bird ranch up and going and starting to go to the sale barn. And I went with him, and I had so much fun. And I was going to start making soap for my daughter because she had really bad eczema, and we got some goats, and I was thinking we'd make goat milk soap for her because it's so expensive to buy. And I was thinking, you know what? Why don't I start myself a little soap making business, and I can sell at the sale barn, and I can also give my eczema daughter some soap, you know, some good soap, and I can make it myself, homemade, everything. And so that's what I started doing. And at the same time, I got myself a bunch of, because you know, I felt like I'm healed. I've got this. I'm not BPD anymore. I dropped the BPD label because, you know, I feel like my therapist was trying to make me drop it anyway. I should drop it. And I'm really moving into self-help, and I got a bunch of financial books. Books on the stock market and how that actually works. And is it gambling? The answer is yes and no. The answer for most things is yes and no, just so you know. I've learned life is gray. It's not so black and white, but it's nice to see it in black and white too. But yeah, I started studying financials just in depth. The stock market, I was just like getting into depth, straight into the stock market to learn all that I can. And yeah, I started yes, it's gambling if you want to buy low, sell high. Let's do that and get rich. You're gambling with the stock market. If you're investing, you're doing your research and what you're investing in. You're understanding what you're investing in. There's certain types of investing that you can do. There's startup investments. There's dividend investments. There's long-term investments. There's short-term investments. I mean, yeah. So I began to learn all that, and I began to move the savings of the child support into the stocks, into dividend. I was doing dividend investments, and I don't regret that at all. They exploded. It's been a good thing, and I'm so grateful for that. And yeah, so there you guys go. That's my spiritual journey story, and how I went into my dark night of the soul and how I came out. And I do want to make a thing, you know, whenever I was younger, I thought that the sound of God was the thunder, that thunder was like the sound of God, and it's just not. That's the sound of Mother Earth. Now I know Mother Earth, she has the groan, she's the one, and she's powerful, incredibly powerful. And I always knew because I could hear the voice in the thunder. There's a voice in the thunder. There's a voice in the thunder. And Mother Earth is alive. She's alive. And so is Father God. And Mother Earth is so much, she needs a lot of healing. A lot of healing, and I'm hoping to move towards that too with the Mystic Hillbilly. But yeah, and God, his voice is in silence, and when you sit and listen to the silence, apparently in the fire, the still small voice, that's the God, that's the voice of God. It truly is. It truly is. It's amazing. And, if you don't believe in him, that's fine. You'll never get to experience him. I experience him. I don't have to believe in God anymore. I know in God. So, I've known in God for a long time. I haven't had to believe in a long time. Belief is just a stepping stone on the path. If you have to see before you can believe, well, then you miss out on a lot. A lot. Anyways, I'm so sorry that this got preachy, and I bet it sounded a little bit judgmental. I do work with my ego, try to get that ego to understand certain things, not kill it. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening to my Dark Night of the Soul experience. And I would love to hear yours. If you have any in the comments, please put it down. Anything you want to say to me, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And thank you guys so much for watching. As always, be blessed with love. As we wrap up this incredible journey together, I want to express my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you. Your energy, your love, and your support have made this My Story series truly magical. And before we part ways, I want to take a moment to thank you for spending your precious time with me. Your comments, likes, and shares have warmed my heart, and I'm endlessly grateful for the connections that we've built. Remember, your energy has created a unique and beautiful community here at the Mystic Hillbilly. Now, as we venture forward, I feel it's essential to address something crucial. Unfortunately, the online world isn't always filled with positive vibes. There are scammers out there who may misuse my pictures and pretend to be me. Please be cautious. I will never reach out to you first. The only way to get a reading from me is by reaching out to my official email or website. If someone contacts you claiming to be me, it's more than likely a scam. I would never ask you to pay for a reading in that way. Remember, I believe in truth, integrity, and the law of attraction. If you're meant to receive guidance from me, the universe will guide you to me, and not the other way around. Trust the process and let your intuition be your guide. Before we say our goodbyes, I'd like to humbly ask you for your support. As a new YouTuber, every bit counts. If you've enjoyed our time together, consider donating. The links are in the description. And for just $2 a month, you can unlock exclusive content on my Patreon, including Mystic Message outtakes, full moon and new moon card readings, and a 40-day transformation challenge. Your support would mean the world to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you. Love, love, and more love to each of you. Let's stay connected in the cosmic dance that we call life. Until we meet again, stay blessed, protected, and full of positive vibes. That's all she got.